Okay, gonna do something a little different this week because I really don't have as much time as I used to dedicate to doing video by video for boxing. So what I'm gonna do is do a roundup of information I've heard about or stories that have caught my attention, and we'll take it from there. And you let me know what you guys think of it. Okay, the first bit of news for boxing fans. I think I've said it already. I'll say it again. Keith One-Time Thurman is back against Jesus Soto Carras. Carras, the man that beat Berto in his last fight and stopped him late. They fight on December the 7th at the Barclays Center as a co-main event to Paulie Malignaggi against Zab Judah. Both on December the 7th at the Barclays Center. So two good fights to look forward to for boxing fans there. It has just been announced Adrien Broner and Marcus Maidana will be fighting on December the 14th. It's a done deal according to Richard Schaefer. I just heard the information come through. So Broner, Maidana, a good fight. I think initial thoughts, I thought Maidana would give Adrien Broner a real tough fight at first. But then I've recently been seeing videos that Broner's been training with Floyd Mayweather Sr. If that's the case, I expect Broner to break Maidana down. However, his punching power wasn't that impressive at a 147. There's still question marks that remain about Broner's chin. Although I don't think Maidana's faster hand or faster foot. And I think Broner's hand speed, he's going to hit Maidana far more times than Maidana's going to hit Broner. And I just think this fight could end up being a mismatch. But, you know, because I think skill-wise, Broner is far much more superior. My problem with Broner is that his work rate isn't the greatest, and he spends more time being defensive than offensive. But then, who knows? Working with Mayweather, if he is working with Mayweather, we'll definitely work on that. Other boxing news. Bryant Jennings, the top contender for America in the heavyweight division, who I believe was with James Prince, has moved again. He is now a top-ranked fighter. So that's interesting news. I guess that's going to get Bryant Jennings far more exposure. You'll probably be hearing a lot more about him and probably bigger fights. So great news for Bryant Jennings, and if I can get an interview with him to find out more information about that, then I'll be bringing it to you as soon as I can. What else to talk about? Yes, strangely, recently also, Derek Chisora made a comment which made me think. Deontay Wilder is rumoured to be fighting Chris Arreola in December. Now that's a good one. That's a good fight, because I, for one, have been one who's criticised Deontay Wilder because the type of opponents he's been fighting have been really not good enough. And whereas some people think that he's waiting for the Klitschko's, and he's knocking guys out that really he should be knocking out, you know, Chris Arreola is a step up, without a shadow of a doubt. But the thing, for this fight with Wilder, for me, Arreola has to step inside that jab as quick as possible, get Wilder on his back foot, and really fight inside to see whether Wilder has an inside game. Now, I don't know if Wilder's going to appreciate me saying this, but if anyone who looked at the footage of when Wilder fought David Haye, or sparring David Haye, they were sparring with 16-ounce gloves, and it looked like Haye buzzed him a few times. And you can only wonder what would have happened if Haye was with 10-ounce gloves hitting Wilder with those punches. And Arreola, as we know, is pretty heavy-handed. If you don't believe me, ask Seth Mitchell. So if you have a question mark about your chin, then Arreola will certainly test that. Arreola's going to be careful in this fight, though, if the fight is made. Arreola cannot make the mistake of standing on the outside and trying to box Wilder, because Wilder, with that big right hand, line you up with a jab. And, you know, if he gets a full extension of that right hand at any time, it's good night Arreola. Don't care how good his chin is. He's going out. He's getting knocked out. So, as I said, Arreola is technically probably the best fighter that Wilder would have fought by a long shot. And it's not like Ariola's not been with big fights, big punches before. He's fought Vitaly Klitschko, and Vitaly Klitschko had a lot to offer then in the heavyweight division. So, and I think Vitaly Klitschko's more of a straighter puncher than Wilder, who does swing his punches a lot. So I think Ariola for me goes into this fight as the favourite because of the opposition he's fought and the experience he's got and the rounds he's gone. What happens when Wilder goes past 3 or 4 rounds and he can't stop his opponent and somebody's throwing punches back at him and hitting him in the chin and hurting him? Still all question marks, we don't know. So rather like I talked about David Price, and be interested to see the fight happen. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to really talk about today. I think in boxing. Of course, how can I forget Timothy Bradley, Juan Manuel Marquez. Now they both weighed in, and you know what? I sat and thought to myself, wow, these guys. I'm not being like, but these guys were fine specimens in terms of physical, all in really great shape, ripped 6-packs. You would known, if you hadn't known better, you'd look they're taking part in a bodybuilding contest. Both Bradley and Juan Manuel Marquez, they both looked physical specimens. Fantastic. It's great to see. From a, you show the guys have really worked hard and got themselves both under the 147-pound limit. So that's great. They've worked very hard. I think both guys are probably working for speed. My thoughts haven't changed really. I think Bradley's pretty decent. He can brawl, he can box, he can counter punch. Not the biggest of punches as you've seen for him in his record. Hits respectively hard enough. But for me, I go with Marquez. Marquez, as you know, has knocked Pacquiao with one punch. And Bradley has a tendency to brawl in fights. And I just think somewhere in this fight, there's going to be a shootout. Will Marquez be waiting to land that right hand on Bradley's chin? And if so, we don't know what Provodnikov did to Bradley in his last fight. We don't know how much damage has been done to Timothy Bradley. You can look good, you can look great on the scales and everything, but coming into a big fight and you go in the ring, the only time we're going to find out what Bradley really got is when Marquez hits him on the chin with 10-ounce gloves. That's when we're going to know how much damage was done and whether that damage is reversible or not when he's in the ring. So I'm still going Marquez by knockout. It still disturbs me the fact that he was talking about he was concussed for weeks and couldn't walk properly, and that all stuff kind of disturbed me, And was that too much information, or was that just Bradley saying it as it is? And I also think if Bradley goes to the scorecard, he'll get jobbed. I don't know. Bradley has to knock Marquez out to win the fight, but again, I could be wrong. But mind you, I called it like I saw it. I said that if Bradley went to points against Pacquiao, he'd win by a majority decision. Go back, look at my videos, and I saw it. I thought the fight was set up from day one because Bradley was already talking about Pacquiao, Bradley 2 was already talking about that. I had the poster for it, whole banner sorted out, and he had even fought Pacquiao for the first fight. So, I thought that the fight would have been a fix, and it ended up that way. No way I thought Bradley won the fight, but there you go. Yeah, one final thing, talking about Amir Khan and Floyd Mayweather. Look, I don't see it possible that Amir Khan's going to turn down a fight of Floyd Mayweather to fight Alexander. As far as I'm concerned, I think Alexander beats Amir Khan. A lot of people don't like what I say about Amir Khan, right? But for me, Amir Khan is still an amateur fight in a pro game. And here's why I say this. If you look at Amir Khan's fights, the first 3 rounds, he comes out like a complete steam. He comes, boom, out, throwing punches all over the place and still jumping around and bouncing around. Khan, after 3 or 4 rounds, starts to blow a bit and allows fighters to get back into fights. Watch his fights. Watch the fight against Marcus Maidana. Watch the fight against Danny Garcia. It's a recurring pattern with Amir Khan. And I don't think he is a welterweight. And if he fights Mayweather at welterweight, Mayweather is a bona fide welterweight. He's been fighting there for so long and fighting up at light middle. If Canelo cannot hurt Floyd Mayweather, right, and significantly put Floyd Mayweather in trouble, What is Amir Khan going to do, please? Somebody tell me. Yes, Amir Khan's got a lot of hand speed, but his chin doesn't match his style. Amir Khan has a style of a brawler, but he hasn't got a chin of a brawler. Amir Khan has a style of a puncher, but he's not a concussive one-punch knockout artist, but he fights that. So Amir Khan is caught between styles. I've always said about Amir Khan, he's a confused fighter, boxer, puncher, sort of, what is he? What style is he? He's not a puncher. If he was a boxer, he never sticks to a game plan apart from when he fights a guy who can't punch, which is really when he fights a guy who actually can dig, he's always in trouble. You can't call him a fighter when he fights because he's under pressure, he fights back, but he's got no chin, so when he gets clipped against guys who are bigger punches, you know what happens. So I'm not telling you anything you don't already know with Amir Khan. I just think when he fights Floyd, he's got fast hands. And I think when guys are throwing punches, especially something I learned while being in the States training, when guys like Amir Khan throw punches, you leave lots of opportunities for you to get knocked out because you're throwing a lot. You don't concentrate on defense. And I think Khan will think that he's got hand speed and try and use that hand speed. And I can see Floyd counter him with left hooks and right hands. And I can see Floyd knocking Khan out in this fight. So for me, it's a great cash-out fight for Amir Khan. After he fights Floyd Mayweather, he doesn't have to fight again. He's been a unified champion. He's been recognised as one of the best in his weight division at 140 pounds. He fights at under 47 pounds. Really nothing to really, he gets beat by Floyd Mayweather. And that's it, he can cash out on that. But God forbid if he ever decides to step in the ring with someone like Keith Thurman. Anyway, those are my thoughts. This has been Ingram Johnson, Bayloric TV. And I'm out. Take care. Enjoy this weekend's boxing.